But doesn't that just like get you? You're like, come on, this is my neighborhood, and that's why we needed to claim our neighborhoods. Remember, our business plan was all around like marketing where you live. Let's start there. Why not be the resident expert in our own neighborhood and stop seeing other agents and brokers' signs go up, right? I've had them right next door to me, probably more than once. I hate that. It's the worst thing that could happen. So, yeah, we don't want that particular look on their face. That cat needs Botox there, apparently. All right. So if you don't bet on yourself, it's hard for others to bet on you. So this is a quote directly from my book. So I'm trying to get some quotes out there from the book. I really, this one I've been saying a long time, but it's we want people to do business with us. We want to gain more clients, and we want people to want to work with us. But sometimes that imposter syndrome kicks in, or we just have self-doubt. And we're not really even betting on ourselves. We don't even have that confidence level. So the big question I have for you today is, and be honest with yourself, because it's, you can lie to yourself all you want, but you know the truth, right? Is how many of you, and you don't have to raise your hand, how many of you would use yourself to sell your own home or to buy your own home, right? Would you really trust you to do the job? And then it's most of you probably saying yes, unless you're brand new, but we'll get there. I mean, but the bottom line is if you're willing to use yourself, then everybody should be willing to use you as well. You should have that mindset, right? And that's betting on yourself. Hey, I'm the horse that's going to win this race and get you to the finish line of selling your home. So you should therefore want to use me to get you there. And by the way, it's going to be a great experience. I'm going to be a horse that runs quick but smooth. I'm not going to buck you off, and it's going to be a pleasant experience, right? And that's what I'm talking about. So how do we get that message out there? How do we communicate that through just contacts and visuals and marketing and digital marketing, social media? Think about ways you can bet on yourself in a big way, but get that message out there that, hey, I'm your best bet. And I'm the one to go with, right? I'm the horse that's going to win this race, so to speak. And that's important for us to keep in mind, because if we're not willing to bet on ourselves, then we can't expect other people to support and bet on us. All right, so I'm going to talk about the 555 method. And 555 reminds me of an agent that worked here. That all of her posts had a 555. Anybody ever know who that was?
Good.
Like little Kim, remember it was a lucky number in her culture, right? So she always had hashtag 555. And so every time I see 555, I think about Kim, who's running around the world right now and traveling. She's in a different city every day. It's amazing. So it's barely she hit 555 in a big way. But all right, so let's talk about the 555 daily method. Anybody ever hear anything about this daily method of 555?
No.
Oh, okay, well, good. I'm glad I'm talking about this today. This is great timing, man. All right. So it's basically a daily method of just getting that message out there of just making contacts and staying relevant to your center of influence, your past clients, your leads. And if you follow this thing religiously, you are going to gain new business. You are going to grow your business. But the key word here is consistently, and it's a daily method, not an every other day method. It's not a weekly method. It's not a monthly method. It's not a when I only feel like doing it method, or when I'm inspired to do it method. It's a daily method, and daily, it'd be great 7 days a week, because we are realtors. We're not bankers. We're realtors. We work 7 days a week, but at least a consistent schedule. If your schedule's consistently built out Monday through Friday, then that's when you should be doing it. So it starts with number one, just 5 new conversations in real estate every day, one way, shape, or form. I don't care personally. Other people have different opinions. I know Mike Ferry has a very strong, compelling opinion that it probably should be done on the phone or by door knocking. But for me, I don't care how you communicate, but there should be 5 brand new conversations every day with somebody about real estate, something pertaining to real estate. And how you do that, again, is not as important as doing it. I don't care if you do it by smoke signal, telegraph, whatever works for your communication style and method. But it's about figuring out how to have those conversations. And I'm telling you, it's super easy to have them if you're just thinking about having them, whether you're standing in line at a grocery store or in a line at a restaurant counter trying to go up and get your Big Mac or whatever. Find a way to talk about real estate 5 different times. The quickest and most efficient way to do that, obviously, is to make some phone calls, right? Maybe, 5 calls a minimum a day, or maybe your attempts are, I've got a list of 20 people I'm going to call today. My expectation is to have at least 5 conversations out of that 20, right? And so a lot of you that prospect daily tend to have those conversations without fail each day. The next one is 5 nurturers. So these are people that you've already talked to. They're warm leads, if you will. They're leads that you're trying to nurture into helping them either buy or sell real estate. So follow up with warm leads who have shown interest, but maybe they're not ready to buy or sell yet, right? You're just getting them through that process. But how do we do that? I mean, we can do that through sending them a great market update, newsletter, market update. We can share relevant property information, put them on auto prospecting, anything they're thinking about selling their home, but anything that comes up in their neighborhood, they'll get an email showing them what the list price is and a call to action to contact you. Maybe an unsolicited Moxie listing presentation. Anybody ever do one of those? I know several of you have, right? That counts, right? Maybe 5 of those a day would be awesome if you can make that happen. So how are you going to do that? You need to understand how you're going to do it. But what these touches are is they're basically TOMA, top of the mind awareness. We're trying to keep at the forefront, as Jared James said in his great presentation. Was it last month? This year is flying by. It's just scary. But we need to get in the way of the transaction when it happens, right? So how do we get in the way? I mean, it's just like football, right? I love football analogies. You guys know that. This guy's obsessed with football. But I think, when I'm a professional football player, I'm a professional defensive back or maybe safety, my job is not just to run to the receiver and try to follow him and make sure he doesn't catch the ball, right? My job is to get in the way of the pass and make sure he doesn't get it and predict where he's going, by the way. So I'm trying to predict the pattern. So I'm not going to just run straight to them and then chase him. I'm trying to predict the pattern. And then my job is to get in the way of that pass, either knock it down, deflect it, or intercept it, right? So you guys, your job is to get in the way of somebody's transaction and be the person that facilitates it. You're going to intercept that ball and take it to the finish line, take it to the goal line, right? So think of it in that context. The only way you're going to do that is top of the mind awareness, right? If they haven't heard from you, you made that initial contact, January 5th, and we're sitting on, what is today, the 23rd? 24th. See, I'm still behind. So the 24th today, right? And they haven't heard from you since January 5th. Are you even on the football field? Are you even on the football field right now? You're not even in the game. What are you doing then? What are you doing? Working on a social media post? What are you doing? Top of the mind awareness, 5 per day. And so how about 5 past client referral touches? So connect with people who already know, like, and trust you. This is just working your database, right? Might be a quick call. It could be a text, email. It could be some postcards you send out through Preferred Client Club. That's a great method of doing it. That's very cost effective. And, milestone recognition's big. Congratulate them on a birthday, anniversary, or another life event. A lot of kids graduating soon, right? How about that? The other thing is, how many of you load the anniversary date of the closing of your buyer's home and send them something every year, like congratulations, happy anniversary, house anniversary, or whatever you want to call it? How many of you do that? Okay, congratulations to you guys. Good job. Because nobody else is doing that, right? Nobody even remembers when they bought their home except them. They're the only ones. And they get something from you every year congratulating them. Hopefully they love their home and not cursing you and yeah, you're the one that sold me this piece of garbage, right? But how about creating a client appreciation event and doing some invites? Look how many touches you're going to get out. I mean, that's like 10x in that easily, right? So think about that. So these touches strengthen relationships and trigger referrals. Because these people aren't going to be ready to buy or sell oftentimes anytime soon. But what do they do? What can they do? They can refer. They know a lot of people ideally, right? And they trusted you to represent them on the biggest purchase or sale of their lives. And they are willing to refer you to their family and friends, but only if they hear from you. If they don't, then they start to forget. It's not like your picture of you and magnets on the refrigerator, for perpetuity. I mean, I don't think that's the case, right? They need to hear from you. And then the bonus 5, I'm giving you bonus 5 for free today. And there's more, right? And you don't even have to purchase anything. But bonus 5 is 5 thoughtful social media comments. And this isn't posts, these are comments, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go on our SOI and past clients, those people, and really, I mean, it could be anybody, let's put it that way. But it's just, you're going to go in and recognize happy birthdays. I try to stay up on happy birthdays when I see it. A lot of you see me, I say happy birthday, because it's important to me that I do that. But even beyond that, when you're commenting, it's not just a simple congrats or whatever. Let's go a little bit deeper with like a message, some kind of positive message, just to really burn and imprint you in their minds and show that you're engaged with your center of influence or sphere of influence. And that's just another way of top of the mind, but only takes 5 of those per day. So that's basically 20 meaningful touches each day and pushing you and your brand out there into the marketplace and then keep it at the forefront. How many of you think you can do these things? I would hope, right? But we're not talking about real estate and we're not out there, then we're what? We're secret agents, right? We're secret agents. And like I say, James Bond never sold one house. I mean, he was a horrible salesman. Great at other things, but horrible at selling, right? So hopefully you gain something out of that. But this has been, I didn't invent this. This has been around since Moses bought his home. It's been there forever, but it does work because it's something that keeps consistent action each day. All right, any questions? And that is all I had. So I don't know what this is. That's not mine. That's mine. All right.
All right.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you here. First of all, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you. Anthony Gonzalez is in the house, and so is Matt Skyak, 2 Barrow mortgage loan officers, and I see some other faces here besides myself. You guys get tired of seeing me all the time, I'm sure. But anyway, so give away, let them know that you acknowledge them and that type of thing. Good deal. Okay, last week sat down with a client referred by a Century 21 agent, pre-qualify these first-time home buyers, and got them all figured out and said you qualify for X amount of dollars. Okay, they were excited. Ready to go home. On the way home, the wife is out there on the internet looking for houses in her neighborhood, the area that she wants to buy in that price range. Oh, this is a real pretty house, but then the price is like 50,000, 75,000, 100,000 over what they were qualified for. How many times that happened to you? I was like, and then you're calling the lender saying, is there any way we could squeeze another $50,000 out of this thing? Right? And we're the bad guys having to say, hell no. No, I'm sorry. I got to thinking about this customer and they were like solid 798 FICO scores. They just didn't have the income. The income was decent, but it just wasn't enough to justify that $400,000 house that they wanted to go look at and so on. So got to thinking. Everybody heard of the Dream for All CalHAPA loan program, right? Well, it's up again. Bigger and better than before. Okay. Every year they learn something from the previous year as to what they did, what's good about it and what's not so good about it. You remember the first year, a couple years back, where they ran out of money in like 5 days?
Yes.
That was embarrassing. It's like I talked to my customers and got them all free, got qualified for it. Next thing you know, oh, there's no more money. That was horrible, horrible, horrible. The following year they did it differently, and this is the 3rd year, if I'm not mistaken, and it is different. It's been refined even more. Okay, so for those of you that have clients that are in that mindset, in that category, and yet they're looking for something a little bit nicer, but it costs $50,000 more, this might be an answer, okay? So we're gonna talk a little bit about it. First time home buyer loan. What is the program? It's a 20% down payment assistance, okay? What they do, let's take $500,000 sales price, 20% of that is $100,000. That's what you use towards a down payment, okay? They can put the whole $100,000 or they could put $90,000 of it and use the rest of it for closing costs. But typically, I think the idea is to try and stay away from mortgage insurance and just put the whole 20% down. Okay, so instead of qualifying for a $480,000 loan, now they're qualifying for a $400,000 loan because of 20% down. It's a second lien position, and it must be combined with the CalHAPA program. So it's a conventional loan program. Today, the interest rate is 5.875. Not bad. Okay. First time home buyers. Okay, we talk about first time home buyers all the time. Non-ownership interest in principal residence in the past 3 years. But this is a little bit different because of the first generation buyer. They want to know that your clients, your buyers, haven't had any ownership in a property in the last 7 years. Okay, the same holds true for their relatives. They want to know, is your mom and dad own property? I guess what the concept is they're thinking, well, if your mom and dad own property, maybe they can fork out some money to you, because they already own property. Okay, so they're looking for true first-time home buyers, California residents, and must be qualified alien citizenship or qualified alien. I had a talk with someone in my office, a processor, and they said, "Oh, you can't do this. They've got a green card." I said, "They ought to be U.S. citizen." I said, "No. Permanent resident alien does qualify. They're a qualified alien." So now, if they're a non-permanent resident alien, then no. Okay, or they have the DACA or something like that. No, can't do that. Okay. Let's see, home buyer education required, including CalHAPA specific shared appreciation education. So there's 2 classes they've got to take. The first one is their standard first time home buyer class. The second one deals specifically with the shared appreciation. They want the buyer to know what they're getting into. Okay, now I know some people think, I don't want to share my appreciation on a home if I sell it 10 years from now. I don't want to share it with back then. Well, they loaned you the money in the first place. You're not making any payments on that. That $100,000 that they gave you to get into this beautiful home, you're not making any payments on it. All they're asking you to do is share in the equity. And we'll get into that right now. Okay, it has to be owner occupied. You have to occupy the property within 60 days. No non-occupant co-borrowers or co-signers. So if they got a co-signer and they're not going to live in it, no, can't have them on the deal. Okay. Questions so far? Am I going too fast?
You did so far.
Okay, good. Okay, 30-year max term, max amount of the down payment assistance is $150,000 or 20% of sales price or appraised value, whichever is less. The payments are deferred for the life of the first loan. Okay, meaning they're making their house payment on the first, but the down payment assistance, the assistance that they're given from CalHAPA is deferred. No payments on that. Okay. CLTV must be between 95 and 105%. Okay, loan is not assumable. If they try to transfer the title or refinance the loan, pay off the loan or anything like that, it's going to call for it to be paid off. Okay. Yeah, nothing new there, right? Yes, Yolanda.
What's the equity percentage they take once they sell the house?
Say it again.
What's the equity percentage that they're going to take once they sell the house? What's the percentage?
Good question. That's my next slide, I think, but I'm getting to it. Okay. Refinance a first loan, notice of default filing. Okay, let's get into that. Okay. Above 80% AMI. Okay, everybody remember what the AMI is all about? Here in Tulare County, the AMI is 68,650 or something like that, okay? In other words, if the gross household income is above 68,650, then they're in the above AMI, 80%, okay? If they're below that, which these clients that I talked to last week are gonna be in this category, because they're making about maybe $50,000 a year, okay? Then they get into this. And why that's important is because the amount of money that's being shared, or as far as the shared equity amount being paid back, differs between the two. We'll get into that. Next slide. Okay, so let's take, for example, that $500,000 sales price, okay? They're getting $100,000 down payment assistance. The home sells a couple of years later, 10 years later, 5 years later, whatever, at $700,000. Depreciation is $200,000. Multiply that by 20%, 40,000. Total owed is the original amount plus the 40,000, 140,000. That's for the above AMI, okay? Below, it works differently. Home purchase for 400,000. This sounds just like my clients that I talked to last week. 400,000, they were given 80,000, they're going to be given $80,000 down payment assistance, 20%. They sell the house years later for 600,000. The appreciation is 200,000. Multiply that by 20%, and then multiply that amount by 75.75 or 0.75%. They've got a $30,000 amount of payback. That plus the original amount, 80,000, is what has to be paid back. Okay, make sense now?
Okay.
Cheap money, in my opinion. Yes, sir.
So what happens if it goes the other way? Say they buy the house, they decide to get a divorce, or somebody dies, and they gotta sell it, and they actually don't make any money, or.
Good
lose money.
question. They have to pay back whatever the amount is given. Okay, so if they give them $80,000, let's say they're still upside down. Well, sorry, that's all there is. I mean, the only other option for them is to have a buyer goes into default, and they don't want that. Yes.
So this money's given with no additional interest, or are they paying interest on top of what they're?
The interest is the
Appreciation.
the shared appreciation. Okay, makes sense? It's not a per month thing, okay? There's no payments being made per month. Matt? Oh, okay, I thought you wanted to ask me a question. Okay,
So in the
Yes.
event that they don't sell it and they pay off, they pay off their mortgage, then they may start making payments on this other.
that's true. I'm pretty sure that's true. I need to look into that part of it. but I'm
Again, with
pretty
no
sure
interest,
that's what I
right?
did. What's that?
Would it be with interest at that point?
That I don't know. Well, I'll have to, that's a good question. I need to research
think
that.
what would happen at that point is you probably just refinance that second that they helped you with, and then at that point, they'd probably do an appraisal to see what kind of equity, so you kind of want to probably get out of it at that point,
Mhm.
because you want to kind of stop that
Yeah.
juice going.
But then
right?
again, you're talking about
So-
paying it off in 30, you're
Yeah,
talking about 30 years later. right?
Exactly, that's
A lot of things are gonna be different in 30 years. Hopefully that house is gonna be worth double
right,
in 30 years.
but I think at that point, you want to stop it, so you probably.
Oh, yeah,
want to get rid of it.
definitely.
There, and then also, still rolling there. So the other thing too is you can actually refinance this. You're allowed one time, so
Yeah.
one time refinance, because I know that the slide 4 kind of made it a little bit.
Exactly. You're one time.
One time to
refinance,
refinance
that's
it on that first to get it lower, they allow that.
Refinance the first. So that
Yeah.
5.875, which is the starting rate, rates go down to 4%. That they're stupid not to refinance it. But then hopefully the idea will maybe be, well, maybe we'll just throw in that $100,000 or that extra amount in there too. They can do that.
Yep.
Okay. Questions? Nope, in the back.
It's a great way to get into a house. There's no other options, right?
So this is just another tool in the arsenal when people start asking you, or you get somebody that's pre-qualified and they're qualified for X amount of dollars, but yet, hey, there's something way prettier over here. It always happens, doesn't it? It always happens to me. I don't know about you guys, but it happens to me quite a bit.
Mhm.
Okay, you want want to be able to have something in your arsenal, well, and have some sort of knowledge about it, okay? Now, we're the experts in it, so hand them over to us and we'll take care of it, but
And they still have money, Leo?
what's that?
They still have money?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I know with these new guidelines, it wasn't gonna disappear in 2 days like last year, right?
Yeah, what they do now is they get you pre-approved and they actually send out the letter saying, okay, you meet all of our criteria, including CalHAPA criteria. Here's your pre-qual letter. Go.
Does that
Find a
guarantee
house.
or lock
Okay.
those spots for them at that point, or not until they do
Yeah, that
that?
money is reserved for.
So it is reserved, so they do take it off their balance sheet temporarily, so it
Right.
doesn't, okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So it's reserved for them. Okay.
How long
So-
do they have to use that?
I believe there's a 6-month period.
Okay.
Okay. But I could be wrong on that. It could be longer. Okay, I've heard of people taking longer than 6 months. They just kind of extend it out. What they want to do is they want to make sure that they didn't go out and buy a new car or a new
Right.
boat or something. You know, that worst thing you can do is go out and buy a new car. Yeah, but you said I was pre-qualified, right? How many times have I heard that? You guys ever heard that before, Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't go out and buy a new car and it's like, we haven't closed escrow yet. That's the worst thing you could do. So, anyway. So, questions at all? Give us a call. Yes.
You circle back around the first time home buyer scenario, do the parents need to be, not be owners?
Yeah, if the parents own property, then no, they're not considered. They're not considered for this program. There are other programs they can qualify for, but not. This one's given 20% down payment assistance. Other programs typically are anywhere from 3.5% up to 5% down payment
But
assistance.
this program, parents cannot own the property.
In the US though, they can
In
own
the
in
US,
Mexico, right,
right,
or
right.
some other country.
In other country, that's fine. We have no way of.
They said they refined it because they said in the last 7 years.
Right.
So they have owned property or owned property within the last 7 years, because when they did it before, it was very gray. It was like they couldn't have ever owned property. And so for them to try to research that, like, it was just like, well, we did like 30 years ago. Are they gonna find out? But so they've kind of, last 7 years, if they haven't owned property or don't currently own property, then they would.
And they do record search. That's why they get the reservation of those funds, because after we approve it, we send it over to CalHAPA and they do their research. They do their due diligence to find out if mom and dad own property or have they ever been on title. Okay. Doesn't have to necessarily mean that they bought the property. Maybe their parents put them on title in case something happens or something like that. And you can't be on title. That's the key. Make sense?
Yeah.
That's for this program.
Yeah.
Okay. There are other programs that are wide open for them, but this one's 20%.
Any other program offer 20%?
No, not that I know of. Anthony?
And
I don't think so.
sort of like city programs, like Goshen had something for a while for some funds.
Yeah, City of Porterville has a 45%. I'm working on one right now, 45% down payment assistance program.
45% or 45,000?
45% of the sales price. They'll go up to that amount, but it's a calculated amount, and I've never seen anybody get that much. Okay,
Yeah.
I've got a client that wants to do this because he's got like $90,000 in the bank, no bills, no wife. He makes decent money, not a lot, but he makes decent money. The problem the only problem I see with this particular program is their debt to income ratio is way down to 35% overall. That's, when you can get CalHAPA and go all the way up to 50% down debt to income ratio, qualify for more house. This guy qualifies for 185,000. Even with that assistance. Anyway, don't get me started, bud. Yes, Peggy.
Approximate time, once you submit it, that it takes CalHAPA. I mean, I know it's how many people are.
Depends on how many people are in there, but
2 weeks.
normally CalHAPA is usually 24, 48 hours, something like that. It doesn't really take that long. However, in this program, it's a little bit different. So it might take a little bit longer.
It'll take the regular time to close though, like 30 to 5 days.
Right. I would not write a 30-day escrow on something like this unless it was already, they are, escrow has everything, everybody has everything in place, okay?
Yeah,
So-
I've closed 3 of these and they're fine. They're not
Yeah.
like-
Lately they have been. But there comes a point in time when business is really busy and there's a lot of people doing these programs. Even their underwriters get tied up for a little bit. I had one with Charlie a couple of years ago. That I noticed it took an extra couple of days for them to actually approve the loan. Borrower was rock solid, but just having the underwriters, enough underwriters to handle the load. Okay. Yes, Larry.
Back on the qualifications, it was, if you've been a homeowner within a 3 years as your
7.
principal residence.
Uh-huh.
So if you have rental property, but you don't
No,
have your
no.
principal
Rental
residence.
property, no. You have to not have any, where is it at? Okay, no title ownership, no title or ownership in the
No, I know.
US for the last 7 years.
Principal
Okay.
residence.
What's that? Non-ownership interest, first-time home buyer, first generation, you gotta have both for this particular type of program. Okay, first-time home buyer would be the regular CalHAPA down payment assistance where you get 3.5, 4, 5% down payment assistance. This one, you gotta have both, okay? Good questions. I wish I had something to give away, I don't. Not today. Oh, everybody wants to win my coffee. Oh, somebody won lunch on me last time. So, anyway, any questions, I'll give us a call.
The homeowner has complete control over if they wanted to sell it the next week or 10 years from now.
Exactly, yeah. It's still the homeowner's house. Mhm. Think about it. It's not a bad deal.
It's not.
Easy money. Okay, you get to buy a house instead of having to write up an offer for 325,000. Wouldn't it be nicer to write up an offer for 400,000? It's there.
Huh.
Give us a call. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, so I think in the room, what we do, let me go in reverse, is we start looking at this program and we assign it. Merit like another 5%, another entry into another loan program. The reality is, when you read this right here, what does it say? Helping first-time buyers build generational wealth through homeownership. That's what this program is intended to do. I didn't know you were doing this as a presentation, but it goes right into mine. So let's talk about first-time home buyers. All right, sorry. Let's see. Charlie, please read this for me. You've helped us grow a lot over the years.
Who have you worked in your co-op transactions that has impressed you? I know every agent don't want to affiliate that doesn't work well with all of us.
But over time, I mean, I just got one last month from you, or maybe it was like December. Whenever Charlie does a deal with an agent that's with another company, if that agent's done a good job, whether they were a buyer side or a listing side, he'll give me a heads up. Hey, this person was really good to work with, give him a call. And so because of that, he gets a nice evergreen check almost every single year. And a lot of you have a lot of potential to also get some evergreen checks. Last year was one of the lower years. I think we only closed 1,518 transactions for the year. That's a lot of transactions. But we paid out how much last year in the down year?
Like 25,000.
And typically we pay about $30,000 in evergreen. So it was just a sign of the times that in general, there was a total of less transactions in the state and for that in our valley. But we grew our market share and we want you to help us grow the company and we'll reward you for it in the way that we always have. Oh, 121 event. Raise your hands real high if you're going. Yeah, we go. So whoever said that, who said I want to go? Let's get you a ticket.
Okay.
Let's get you some tickets. We're still reimbursing you the cost of going over 3 transactions when you return, even if they're already in escrow when you leave. And so if you want to go to this, please let us know. We want everybody to attend that wants to be there, but we want you to actually be there. We don't want you to be back in the casino gambling. We want you to actually go and listen and come back with some knowledge. It should be a great event. And so No, you can go, you can actually get a guest pass, so you could actually attend. No. No, this is meant for anybody that's Central 21, but you can also bring a guest, because there's a lot to learn and a lot to. I mean, their guest speakers, their keynote speakers are just fantastic. There's a lot of motivation that goes through.
Rep gonna be there.
Yeah, so Refkin, which is the Compass president CEO, who now is the CEO of what used to be Anywhere Group, and before that Realogy. I mean, he is now the man. So let's roll. Oh, who was on this yesterday? Anybody? What book are we covering? Anybody? Who has read the book? Raise your hands real high. Who's listening to it? Who's never heard of it before? I want to know who you are. Anybody not heard of this book before? Please pick it up. It's one more. Ed Milet is a motivational speaker. He got real famous and he came up to fame through one of those multi-level marketing firms where they sell something and you got kind of somebody behind you. And he just hustled and he worked real hard. And he's had a lot of success. But he goes into human nature. And when he first published his book and people wanted him to do a keynote speaker, you needed to do two things. You needed to, number one, invite him. He didn't care if he got paid when he first started speaking, but he wanted to know that there was going to be a lot of people in attendance because he wanted to get his voice out there, his message out there. And for him, recognition when he first wrote the book immediately after was the number one thing he was looking for. Now, fast forward, he's had a lot of success, not just with a book. He's written the second book with a podcast. He's had a lot of success. Now, if you call him and say, hey, there's going to be 10,000 people in attendance and we want you to be a keynote speaker, that doesn't motivate him anymore. What motivates him now is to know that he's making a difference in your life. And then think about yourself. Have you changed? Because that's how he's changed. He's changed from wanting recognition in life to wanting to be seen. Everybody ever heard of fake it till you make it? That was it, right? He had that complex. And so that's what he wanted in life. But now it's not that. Now it's, can you make a difference in your life? And think about yourself. Are you different now than when you started in the business? Do you still have the old work habits? Do you still have the old routines? Do you still dress the same way that you used to? Do you still present the same way that you used to? Do you still have the same listing presentation that you did when you started in the business? Do you look more professional now? Do you sound more professional now? Do you have that experience where customers want to trust you and believe in you? And so he goes into a lot of things in this book that are just very basic, and he didn't write it for real estate agents. He just wrote it for anybody who's trying to be better than they were yesterday. And who wants to be better than they were yesterday? Who wants more success than they had yesterday? Then at the end of the day, only you can hold yourself accountable. And that's what he goes into in this book. Are you doing everything that you can to be more successful? Mike covered it this morning, the 5-5-5 rule. Anybody do the math? If you did the 5-5-5 without the bonus 5, that's 15 contacts a day. If you work 5 days a week, we know that's not true because you guys also work Saturday and Sundays. But if you guys prospected 5 days a week and you did 15 contacts a day, how many do you have at the end of 5 days? 75 contacts. If you did the 5 bonus ones, now you got 100 contacts in a day. It's 25% more contacts. Is that going to make a difference in your results? Absolutely. One more thing is just focusing on one more contact per day. One more knocking on the door, one more phone conversation, one more referral, one more SOI, just doing one more. And so please join us next week on what day?
Monday.
Please. Ooh, let's see, let's go on. Would you read this one? You're close by.
The power of one more, why this book club matters. Most people don't fail because they lack talent.
Anybody agree with that?
Yes.
Dan, have you ever left a listing presentation, not got the listing? How does it make you feel? Learning lesson? Are you better at it now? What's your closing ratio now compared to what it used to be?
Oh.
Good, but it's normal, right? Are you gonna win every single time you go in? But you're much better at it now than you used to be, right? Next one. They quit one step too early. That's that picture that everybody has seen. There's 2 people in a cave digging. The one on the top is already turned away. He was just one of those strike ways hitting gold. The guy at the bottom is just digging and digging and digging. Sometimes we give up just one more no too soon. They give you I'm sorry, I'm not going to list it with you at 3.5%. Will you do it for 2? Last person said they would do it for 2%. And you give up your commission. I mean, we see the commissions come through. Just stop giving up your money. We give up too quickly. Third one in the middle, Charlie, please.
Success usually comes from doing one more than you think you can.
We can all do one more. This guy kind of like reminds me of you, Mike, because he's always in the gym. He's real fit. Every time I see you, I think, man, you're in the gym a lot. This guy, if you ever see him, he's in the gym a lot. He looks, buff, he looks swole, right? You know, he said in the last 20 years, he's not done reps of 10, not once. Because he always does what?
One more.
He always does one more. He's done plenty of sets of 13, 11, 12, 15. He doesn't do 10. If everybody's doing 10, he's doing one more. If you're doing 15 prospecting calls, can you do one more? If you're knocking on, well, the reality is most of you are knocking on 0 doors a day. Could you knock on 1 door a day? Could you just stop by? That house over there looks like it needs some care. Somebody hasn't mowed the lawn in 3 weeks, and in this weather and this, I mean, it's gonna grow like this tall in a week, right? Could you knock on the door? Could you make a connection? Right? Do you ever drive by any for supply owners? Anybody? When was the last time you stopped and took the phone number down? When was the last time you knocked on the door? Could you do that once? If you see one this week, will you commit to at least getting the phone number and making the call? Well, Mike, what am I gonna say? Chances are they're not gonna answer, so it doesn't matter. Just call. Just call, and if they call you back, I'm a local real estate agent. I have a buyer who's interested in investing in this area or buying. I was just curious, how much are you asking for your property? Great. Hey, Larry, what made you list it yourself as opposed to using a real estate agent? Oh, you didn't want to pay me a commission. Did you realize that over 90% of homes are sold to real estate agents, and you're probably going to leave some money on the table if you sell it yourself? You know what investors do, Larry? They prey on customers just like you. They're going to get you an offer that you're going to accept. They're going to get you into escrow. They're going to let you tell all of your neighbors and all of your relatives. And the week before closing, you know what they're going to do? A home inspection. And then they're going to try to get you to lower your price by 10, 15, or 20 grand. And because you've told all your friends and neighbors, they know you're going to be embarrassed if you say it fell out of escrow. So guess what you're going to do? Because if you say yes to that discount, you'll get your check tomorrow. How does that make you feel? Do you want to do that? Or do you want to work with a professional like myself that will help you protect your money? That's an easy script. You guys can all do that with supply owners. Dan, I know you use that one often, right? Or something similar. So is it hard? No, but it's in our head. We get in our own way. One more call, one more follow-up, one more conversation, something to just make you and force you to do one more. What's the last one? Who can see the screen? Larry?
Real estate rewards consistently under pressure, not motivation.
Ooh, motivation doesn't last. It's your routines. We're all human nature. We all have it in our brains. If I ask you how you got to work this morning, do you remember how many red lights you went through? How many times you had to stop? Hopefully you didn't go through any red lights. What I meant is stop at red lights. Hopefully none of you drove through them, but how many, did you get a lot of red lights on the way to work? How many green lights? How many right turns? How many left turns? Do you have this routine where you don't remember the drive? The reality is because of human nature, we're going to take the easy way out. And if you're not used to making phone calls, you're not going to make phone calls. What he's doing with this, he's trying to get you to train your brain to just make it a routine so that it becomes automatic, so that it doesn't become something you resist. So if you come to the office and you got to make the 20 phone calls, you do it automatically and it doesn't feel like work. Where it feels like the day that you don't do it, where that feels like it's out of sequence. Now you got to do it the next day. They wanted to get you where you're training your brain to just make it a habit, make it a routine, to where it's on autopilot. And the reality is that we are our own worst enemies, and we don't do that. We don't prospect every single day. And do you ever miss prospecting days?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Sure.
It feels weird, right? When you first started, you liked doing prospecting. Why? Because it felt weird.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of routine. I don't go to the gym, so I can't tell you what that feels like. If I did go to the gym, that probably would feel really weird for me, right? But for those of you that go often, when you miss a day, it feels weird. That's all we're doing here is we're training the brain to making prospecting and making real estate conversations a daily natural thing to where you come to work one day or life happens, you have to pick up your kid, your grandkid, or something happens in life and you don't get your prospecting done, that feels weird. So the next day you do a little bit extra. Make it a routine to where it feels normal to prospect. And when you don't, it feels weird. If you ever see me in the gym, it's because I'm taking a free tour. You probably had like free lunch for doing that stuff. All right. So again, I didn't know Leo was presenting on that today, but these two topics touch very much into each other. And I do this, I don't do this one every year, but I think that I should. Because what I'm going to show you today might sound strange to some of you as a topic for real estate, but it's the reality of the world that we're in and the career that we've chosen and the impact that we can have on people's lives and the impact that you can have on people in the community that you live in. Okay. So Let's go, read it with me. Does home ownership make your kids smarter? Yes. Make your kids healthier? Yes. Make you wealthier? Yes. Make your community safer? Yes. This actually was supposed to be the very last slide. I'm not sure how it got twisted. But here it is, and let me show you why. Oh, well, before we go into that, let me tell you that next Wednesday, is Jen in the room? She's not in the room. We have a 1031 exchange. What's that?
This one's on Thursday, 10 o'clock.
Okay, so this one, oh, that's not, dude, this is the slide you had. Okay, good. So Marang Title Company, this is for farming. This is this Thursday on Zoom at 10 a.m. Please be a part of that one. Take a picture of it. I didn't even see the slide in there, so thank you for adding that one. Do we have the other one? No. Okay, now we're back to mine. Anybody read this at the top? What does it say? Perfect. This study got started in 1981. What does it say right there? 20 years after they studied the report. By the way, they updated about every year or every 2 years. And there's a new one. I just wanted to show you the one that I originally read. So this report is one that's been used, been going on now for about 44 years. They update it every single year. When you read the report, it's very, very interesting. I'm going to show you some of the inside of the report, but I want to break it down for you. They used a lot of age groups, bless you. They used parents that were as young as 15 years old when their kids were born, all the way up to 26 years of age when their kids were born. So they went and they used a big group, and then they used people that were on housing assistance. They used people that were unemployed. They used people that had great jobs. They had people that made a lot of money, and they just used a diverse group of people to do comparisons. But here's what this report tells you. So this is the impact of home ownership on child outcomes. Okay, really important. So again, 26-year-old mothers all the way down to 15-year-old moms. So they used a big scale, and they used a whole bunch of incomes so that they can compare how kids turn out. Okay, and here's what it shows you. I know that the word is small, so I'll read it to you. Our results are consistent with the following conclusions. First, we find that owning a home compared with renting leads to a higher quality of home environment, where home environment is measured by index of cognitive support, physical environment, and emotional support of the children in the home. Second, we find that a child's cognitive outcomes are 9% higher in math and 7% higher in reading achievement. Your kids can be 10 to 7% smarter in certain subjects just because you own a home compared to you renting a home. That should blow your mind, because it's all incomes. And the only difference was that the parents either rented or bought. Does anybody see nice houses for rent, expensive houses for rent? Have any of you ever had, you had your own CPA as a tenant. Some of you have rented to doctors. See, it doesn't matter what the income is. It matters the mindset that they have. 9% smarter in math just because the parents bought instead of rented. All age groups, all incomes. That's insane. 7% smarter in reading, because the reality is we just don't like to read. I mean, have you seen that when we asked to read the book? So, but third, they also measured a child's behavior problems, and also a lower percentage of child resides in low income areas. Does that surprise you that there's more behavioral issues in low income areas? Do you think they're mostly tenants in that area or homeowners? Did you know that even in the areas where it was low income, but the parents owned the home, the results were the same? They were still smarter. They were still even healthier. Let's keep going.
I bet not a lot of us ever use that as a selling tool when we go.
The reality is people don't even think the way we do, because I'm really weird in the way that I think. And I think this stuff is important, because if you educate the agents and they educate their clients, you really start thinking of this industry in a very different way. Let's keep rolling. How about one by North Carolina Housing Agency? Study finds homeownership protects health. They're healthier. People who own a home typically take more pride in a home. Have you ever driven through a neighborhood and like, oh, that must be a rental? Anybody? Does it look as well taken care of as people that own the house next to it? I mean, I'm embarrassed that I go on one that happened in Porterville. It's like on School Street in Burn School District. And like, I go in once in a while, do an inspection, and everything is really nice. And then, oh shit, that looks like a rental. It's mine. You know, but it's the reality. It's the guy that's currently there, and he's been there for 7 years. His pride in his house is not the same as it would be if it was mine. The tenant before him had a lot of pride, and they really took care of it. He just pays the rent and it's getting by, right? It makes your kids healthier, guys. By a significant amount. If you keep reading this, and it goes again, children's math, reading scores were better. This one was done in 2019. Homeownership encourages property upkeep, which leads to higher home values. But how about this? Stability. Stability is the #1 reason that the kids do better in school. People that are buying through community programs, what did you just mention? Is that kind of like a community program?
Gotta do that.
It is a way to get people to buy, and it's a way to get people to understand the difference that they're going to have in their kids' life and in their grandkids' life. If any of you wanted to move right now to a very expensive area, let's just say you wanted to move to, I don't know, is Santa Barbara expensive? If you wanted to buy, I mean, not only is the loan going to be very expensive, do you have the down payment that you need? Let's say that your parents were there and they left you a house and you had 2 siblings and you guys divide the equity that's in it. Now, could you buy a house? There, probably anywhere. Does it leave generational wealth? What if you don't need it because when your parents pass, you're of an age where you're taken care of, and you can pass it on to who?
Great.
To your kids or the original owner's grandkids. Does that create generational wealth? Guys, the studies keep going. Here's one by Housing Matters. And it just keeps saying housing matters for educational, health, and economic outcomes. See, it didn't matter if it was a very affluent neighborhood where everybody, the median income was over 100,000, or if it was somebody that was on welfare, because it goes into that too. The results were the same. 75% less likely to end up in an ER room. That should scare the hell out of you. That your kids are 75% more likely to end up in an ER for an illness because you don't own the house. That should scare the hell out of you. And there's reports that just keep going. It goes into wealth, employment, and upward mobility. Kids who see their parents own a house think that they can also own a house. My parents did it, I can do it. Guys, this is huge. There's the reason that this generational wealth program that he was talking about, it's not for everybody. It's designed for the people whose parents have never owned a house. Therefore, they think they can never own a house themselves. And this is a way to get them in the door. And it's a great program. Guys, there's more. Anybody ever heard of this company? How does housing affect children's education? It goes into the same, and the results are almost exactly the same in their report. More stable and adequate affordable housing. It goes into Black and Hispanic Latinos, because again, we're just less of the population and less home ownership generationally. Improved academic achievement. Socioeconomic diverse neighborhoods with high quality schools. I mean, if you're ever in the Fresno area, where do you want to buy because of the schools? Say it real loud in that. Why Clovis? Do you assume that it's more expensive buying Clovis than Fresno?
Yes.
It's a fact, it is. Why? Do you think there's more homeowners in Clovis or more tenants in Clovis as compared to Fresno? Yeah. Did you know that there's 0 low-income housing in Clovis, in the city of Clovis? Did you guys know that?
No.
There is not a single apartment building in the Clovis School District that is low income. They just got sued and lost. The city just lost. In the last 30 years, they have had 0 low-income apartments. Not a single one, not a single complex. Not a single, and you know what? They can't even approve it. But the developers just haven't gone in there and said, I'm going to go buy this land in Clovis and build it in. Right? Does that surprise you? So if you're in the Fresno market and you want to go to Clovis schools, what do you have to do? You have to physically move there and buy there. And so does it surprise you that people that have money want to be in an area that has good school districts? Do you know how school districts get funded? Say it real loud. Taxes of whatever's in their school district. So when you go into a neighborhood and the grandparents still in the home, and now the kids are going to grandma and grandpa's house and then walking to school, if those grandparents never sell that house and they bought it for say 100 grand 20 years ago, actually 100 grand could have been in 2010, but if they bought it for 100 grand and the houses around them now are worth say 3 to 50 to 400,000, when a property sells, now that school district is getting 3 to 4 times more property tax income to support the school. Are they doing the school and the kids in that neighborhood a favor, or should they turn and let somebody else have it? Maybe sell it to their own kids. See, turning and churning in a community, flipping, buying, selling, encouraging people to sell is all good, because you know who else gets funded by property taxes? A lot of the cities, you know what they fund? Firemen. You know who else they fund? Police departments. In small communities, you know what else gets funded through property taxes? District taxes? Hospitals. Do you want a good hospital where you live? So guys, the work that we do is extremely important, but we don't think about it in the full way that we should be doing. The reality is that from birth to preschool, or whether they start at elementary school, or whether they're young adults, at any point in time, if the parents decide to buy a house, the kids are healthier, smarter, and have less behavioral problems. That should not surprise you, but it might. And so when you're having conversations with first-time buyers, should you bring some of these things up? Should you know these things? Should it be something that you're having conversations with your clients, especially if they think they can't buy it because they're scared, because nobody in their house or in their family has ever bought a house before. They don't know what steps to take. All of this stuff that you should keep in your mind to use to benefit them, because we are creating generational wealth and we're changing the community, not just for you and for us, but for their kids and your grandkids. See, we do change lives through real estate, but it's only if you fully understand the impact that you have in the job that you do. And so that was my study. I wanted to bring it all to you guys. You guys can all pull it up. You guys all have Google. You guys all have ChatGPT. This study now has been going on for about 45 years straight. And they update it again about every year, every 2 years. And it's a great report because it lends to the importance of what you do for a living. Study explores how housing affordability impacts children. It just keeps going. What's the date on the top left? That was updated in July of 2022. And guess what they found? The exact same things. In this one, it's education and housing create less issues and smarter kids. More upward mobility. The one that I didn't put on the screen talked about income. Your kids are going to do 10 to 15% better income-wise than the neighbors who rented them. That's insane. The only difference in the study was you guys owned and the neighbors rented. And maybe the way I'm saying it now is maybe your neighbors own and you rented. And if you want to change that, really make it a goal about a house this year if you're still in. So, any questions on any of these? Fun? It is good stuff, but again, if you don't go into it and look at it, just stuff that is there, but we don't really study it. And so I thought it was important to understand the importance of home ownership and the impact that it has on your community and really on your kids. Okay. Coming soon. Anybody? Did I depress the hell out of everybody? Like the energy's like gone. Let's pick it back up. Any coming soon? Nobody? It should be. It should be shocking. Yeah. Somebody lied to me, Peggy. What do you got?
I've been working on one. It's just an elderly lady that has a lot of stuff in the house and
Yeah.
then she's got all and stuff, so family, but we're hoping maybe Friday we'll get pictures and get it on the market. It's in Exeter. It's a 3 and 2. I can't remember the square footage. It's overall.
Supply and demand in Exeter, that'll sell.
Yeah, and then it's got a detached garage, corner lot. And then it's got like a little ADU thing that wasn't like permitted, but there's
there.
actually somebody living in it
Hmm.
and renting it. I don't know where we're gonna be on the price. I'm thinking it's 300 because she wants to sell it as is.
What does she rent the unit for?
Well, 400 is all she rents it for, but that's for utilities.
Yeah, so she's helping somebody out and getting some extra income. So she can go.
He does a lot for her.
Good.
The yard and just, so it's kind of a hard one to gauge on what he's paying the rent on.
Pretty good.
What did you say on the front? Probably 300.
Close to 300, but it's not set in stone yet.
Yeah.
If you have somebody with a lot of money, it's 330.
I still up, Diane.
No, it's still flexible. Anybody else with coming soon, have wants? Anybody? Okay, now that we have better weather, next week is still March. So next week, we're gonna go to Tulare after the office, and we're gonna go tour our neighborhood in Tulare. And then the week after that, we have the chief of police coming in to give that's 10th, that's the week after. And so next week, we're going to Tulare. The week after that, we're gonna have the chief of police here. We may not take a tour on that one. I'm still doing, but the next tour we're gonna take after Tulare is we're gonna go to Woodlake to some of the new construction and see what we can do with those. But now that the weather's better and not raining, we can go into new construction without getting the floors all muddy. Anybody else with haves and wants? Nobody.
I have 2 wants.
What do you got?
I still need a property in Tulare 2-story on the west side. She doesn't like what's on the market. So,
Which is your new construction?
no, because the lots are small and she doesn't
Yes.
want electric. I know, so.
By electric, I mean like electric stove.
Electric appliances, yes. And I still need a property in either Ridley or Dinuba, something with an acre or 2.
Are you a member of the Fresno North?
Yes,
Because a lot of those areas are marketed. like
yeah,
residences.
I checked.
How big or what price on the really one?
He's qualified up to 740.
This one yesterday, but it's 900, the lot was like, only a third of an acre.
Oh.
I can't remember where it was, or maybe. It was under an acre.
Is electric 100% across the board now on all new builds?
So there are certain neighborhoods that have been allowed, depending on when they got permitted, to have gas appliances. The gas stove is what we're talking about. The state of California has regulation in place where they have to phase those out. And so new construction at a certain point will no longer be able to put gas stoves in them. And that was tied to asthma, by the way. You grew up with a gas stove, you're 20% more likely to have asthma, and that's how this came to be. Did you guys know that?
Are you able to just switch them out, like once you buy the house?
If there's no gas lines plumbed in the house, it's very difficult.
You could get it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't get a permit, so.
I think right too, right?
They're going all electrical.
Yeah.
Yeah, all electrical.
Yeah, well, the community's already been plumbed for.
Right,
Gas.
no gas, there's no heater, right, on that new build, yeah.
There's some benefits to that. For example, I don't have a gas plumbed in my house. I'm 100% electric. The house was built in the 60s. And so I have a permit to use my fireplace 24/7, 365 days a year. My neighbors love it. I don't use it very often. I mean, Susan has one. So again, want to remind you, I forgot to put the slide on there. But next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, we're gonna have a 1031 specialist come in and give a presentation on a Wednesday. It won't be in the sales meeting, so I'll send everybody that email. Please come in. It's 1031 nationwide. Any questions that you have, how it works, what to do if you're starting to work with clients, or if you just want to understand 1031 exchanges. A week from tomorrow, here in this office at 11 a.m. That's all we got. In person, she'll be here. She's coming up from Bakersfield. She does nationwide, but she covers the valley. She's just a great 1031 exchange person with a lot of knowledge to answer all your questions for those who are working with investors, or if you have some properties of your own. So that's next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. I'll send that email to everybody. If there's nothing else. Thank you all for being here.